Hello and welcome to Lesson 6. In this lesson, we'll have a look at modal verbs. What are modal verbs? Modal verbs are words such as can or could, will, would, shall, should, ought to, may, might, must, and have to. They are used before infinitives to add a different meaning to the word. For example, we use modal verbs to say that someone is able to do something, that someone is allowed to do something, or that someone has to do something. Now let's have a look at the first one, can. We use can to say that something is possible or allowed and that somebody has the ability to do something. We can see the lake from the hotel. She can draw really beautiful pictures. Can you drive? I can come and see you tomorrow. Another modal verb is could, which is the past of can. Could is very often used with see, hear, smell, taste, feel, remember, and understand. I couldn't understand the instructor. As soon as I get into the room, I could smell gas. Sheila said we could come early. The equivalent of can and could is be able to, both for present and past. But in future tenses, we have to use be able to. For example, I won't be able to come tomorrow. Don't forget that for future tenses, we only use be able to and we can't use can or could. Will and would. We use will when you're asking someone to do something, or you're offering or agreeing or promising to do something. This suitcase looks very heavy. I'll help you with it. Can you give Sheila this report? Sure, I'll give it to her tonight. We use would, or wouldn't, in negative, when we imagine a situation or action that is not real. It would be nice to buy a new car, but I can't afford it. I would love, or I'd love to live in California. We use would have plus past participle of the main verb when we imagine something that didn't happen in the past. For example, I would have called you, but I didn't have your number. Sheila didn't invite me to her birthday party. I wouldn't have come anyway. Shall and should. We use shall mostly in questions, or to ask if it's okay to do something, or to ask for suggestions. Shall we go home now? Shall I go by car, or will it be better to walk? We use should most commonly to talk about what is the ideal or best thing to do in that situation. They should reduce the price of petrol. It's so expensive. We use should have plus ed to talk about things that were ideal in the past, but which didn't happen. It can often express regret. I should have studied harder when I was younger. We often use should to give advice or make suggestions. You should tell her what you think. You can use ought to instead of should to make strong suggestions. You ought to tell her what you think. You ought to apply for this job. You look tired. You ought not to go to bed so late. May and might. We use may or might to say that something is possible and to ask if you are allowed to do something and to tell someone if they are allowed to do something. This may be true. They may know. May I borrow your pen? May I see your ticket? Might is used for the past. You might have left your tablet at work. We also use may and might to talk about possible actions or happenings in the future. I may go to Florida on holiday. Take an umbrella. It might rain. Must and have to. Use must and have to talk about strong recommendations or what you think is necessary to do. You must speak louder. I can't hear you. You must keep that secret. You mustn't tell anyone. With have to, we use do, does, and did in questions and negative sentences. I don't have to go to the office tomorrow, which means it is not necessary. Did you have to wait a long time for the bus? That's it for our lessons on modal verbs. Remember, study your modal verbs. They're very important to give nuances to what you mean. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.